So,
I think from here, Kangaskhan just needs to go for knockouts on Thunderous.
yeah, maybe Entei just needs to exert as much pressure as possible. Oh, and so we do actually confirm Entei's full moveset. It protects itself there. And Amoonguss, confused, paralyzed, hurting itself. Unfortunate.
And this allows Kasoman to get the Thunder Wave off on the Kangaskhan.
Yeah, so Big Mama is paralyzed. Will get the return off, though. And gonna target down that Thundurus, which pops the Citrus Berry. Thundurus going to recover back HP. Not going to get KO'd by this. And now sitting at 54 HP left.
Unfortunate the Amoonguss didn't get to attack, but the odds were stacked against it with that paralysis and the Swagger.
Yeah, so at this point, I mean, the one thing that can really pull this game back for Kaola is that Thundurus. When you've got paralysis, when you've got Swagger on your side, there's a lot that can go wrong for the opposing team. So,
it is entirely possible that Patrick never gets to launch an attack again.
Oh, that
if
sounds
he's unlucky
gross.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah, we've also got this Entei, which, you know, is capable of doing decent damage.
Yeah, Entei's reduce the amount of turns that Kasoman needs to stall out.
Yes, as long as it doesn't get paralyzed itself. And we actually, we see Thundurus protect here. So we've now confirmed Thundurus' full moveset as well. Thunderbolt, Swagger, Hidden Power. Oh wait, no, that's not the right Thundurus, never mind. Yeah, my bad. Amoonguss, nonetheless, going for Rage Powder, and Kangaskhan trying to knock that Thundurus out. And a Sacred Fire going off into the Amoonguss, which manages to survive.
So Amoonguss will be able to get another Rage Powder off if it doesn't get hurt in confusion or paralyzed.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, we saw that Kangaskhan was trying to take that Thundurus out. Patrick recognizes that getting rid of Thundurus is surefire way to victory. I wonder if he'll be tempted to try and regenerate or some HP back onto Amoonguss. I don't like that play, but
I feel like that play is a bit risky, but at the same time, you do avoid going for any Swagger or Thunder Wave rolls, and it's possible that he'll just go for another Sacred Fire on that Amoonguss, but with his HP so low, I feel like just a Thunderbolt to finish it off would be the best play.
Yeah, and I mean, it also opens up the possibility this turn or next that Heatran gets paralyzed, so yeah, we actually see Amoonguss snap out of its confusion, launch that Rage Powder so it gets through the hacks.
And if Kangaskhan attacks, I think this is the game.
Yeah, so Thunderbolt does go onto that Amoonguss. Nice safe play to get rid of that slot. Although it could have been targeting the Kangaskhan as a double-up play.
Oh, Kangaskhan was paralyzed. Which is exactly what Kasoman needed to stay in this.
We see a Sacred Fire go off on the Kangaskhan, dealing good damage. Not quite 50%, but that means that another Sacred Fire and Thunderbolt can take it out. Yeah,
so Kangaskhan can't survive another attack from either of these Pokemon. And at this point, it might be wise just to go after the Entei, because he's clearly shown that he wants the Thundurus dead at all costs. So Kasoman might be tempted to protect Thundurus and feel safe to go for an attack with Entei.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick brought in that Heatran there. Depending on Heatran's moveset, it could run Heat Wave, it could, it's got Earth Power, you know. Heatran, presumably, barring Stone Edge crits, is going to be able to take care of that Entei, so... Yeah, it's a bit of a coin flip, really. Do you think Thundurus is going to protect? Is it going to launch an attack? You got to cover those bases.
I think he might just try to go for a read and just try to get some extra damage to finish off Kangaskhan.
Yeah, well, we do see Thunderbolt coming out of Thundurus does not protect. Heatran going for the Earth Power, gonna get big damage on that Entei, more than 50%.
And Kangaskhan's paralyzed again.
Oh, so... If there is one way that Kaola was going to come back into this game, it was through that paralysis, through that Swagger, and we see Kangaskhan go down. Heatran versus the world at this point.
And Heatran hasn't actually lost this yet, because his Heat Wave probably knocks out Thundurus from here. His Earth Power probably knocks out the Entei from here. And if Entei goes for a Protect, it could just get fully paralyzed and knocked out by Earth Power. And then, if either of them protects, he has to worry about Patrick attacking the other target.
Yeah, Heatran also not paralyzed yet, but of course Patrick can launch either a Swagger or a Thunder Wave into that slot. Swagger being kind of the more Hail Mary, but better probability play at this very moment to keep Thunderous around and kind of go for victory, I think.
Yeah, I'd say he wants to swagger this turn and then paralyze it the following turn.
Yeah, and we see Entei protect, so no paralysis there. Thunderous does go for a swagger, but it's avoided, and Heatran shows us Flamethrower, which will guarantee that knockout. No chance of missing that Heat Wave, so...
All the good luck Kasoman's been having this game has finally caught up with him, as the swagger misses the Heatran.
Yeah, and we are most likely to see an Earth Power. Yes, we see an Earth Power come out of Heatran. That should pick up the knockout, and it does. So game 1 goes to Patrick Lesowski. Oh, a critical hit, no less. Going out with style. So Patrick Lesowski takes game 1 in a close affair. So how do you think Kaola is going to adjust to deal with that Heatran?
He might just go in and say, I had a decent game plan, I just maybe could have made a better play on one turn or another, or maybe get some better RNG with Thunderous. Like, he had the Milotic, and he had the Landorus, which theoretically are supposed to give him the good Heatran matchup. And then Thunderous is also annoying.
Yeah, I mean, he did actually have pretty good RNG there. Kangaskhan ended up paralyzed a couple times. Amoonguss hitting itself in its
confusion. Always be greedier.
Yeah, you can be greedier. Well, I guess we're going to see Patrick will be bringing a Kangaskhan, Amoonguss, Landorus, Therian, and Thunderous to this game. I guess we're going straight into it, so we'll see those leads. You guys got to see the 4 Pokemon brought. They're on the screen, but we see Kaola lead off with Thunderous Milotic as opposed to the Landorus Milotic lead last game. Was that right?
Yeah, I think it was Landorus Milotic.
Yeah, and Patrick bringing a Landorus to this game. Oh, activating that competitive.
Oh, that was really risky. From the video, I thought he led with Kangaskhan and Amoonguss, and I thought that was going to be a perfect lead to what Kasoman brought.
Yeah, and Patrick also leading with that Thunderous, so now he's got to face down this +2 Milotic.
Yeah, I think what his line of thought was, he saw the full moveset of Thunderous last game, so he knows that his opponent's Thunderous doesn't have Hidden Power Ice. And he saw that the Milotic really didn't do anything last game at all. Like, it just kind of sat there, and like, it was hard to kill, but it didn't actually do any damage. I don't think it got an attack off. So he might have just thought that Kaola would leave it behind this time, and thought Landorus was a safe lead.
Yeah, so we are going to see Thunderous run a swagger off into that other Thunderous, and yeah, we might, this Milotic potentially threatened by a doubling into from both Pokemon, and Landorus does get an Earthquake off, which is the first part of that combination, but now Thunderous has to battle Confusion. Oh wow, that's a bulky Milotic, so Earthquake not really doing that much damage. Does get a Thunderbolt off into Milotic though, and that puts it in the red. Popping its Moringa Berry once again, and Milotic, gets to Scald, KOs that Landorus certainly at +2. Now it's almost KO'd though, but that's a pretty good turn for Kaola right there.
Yeah, that's exactly how he wants to start off the match. And now, whatever Patrick sends in, whatever he sends in can probably knock out the Milotic, but he has to contend with it being swaggered, and his Thunderous, the Thunderous on his side is also confused.
Yeah, and we see Patrick bringing in that Kangaskhan there, so Big Mama coming out of the field. And now Milotic threatened by a Fake Out. We've seen Recover, we've seen Scald, we've seen Ice Beam. Possibly runs Protect, but I don't think a lot of Recover Milotic do necessarily.
I think it's a fairly standard move.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So now Patrick has a dilemma here. He can Fake Out the Thunderous and prevent a Thunder Wave, but then his Thunderous has to attack through Confusion. Or he could go after Milotic to just get it off the field, but then he concedes the Paralysis to his Kangaskhan, and then the Milotic might even Protect.
Yeah, and we are going to see Kangaskhan Mega Evolve, and we'll have to see what it goes for. We do know that Patrick's Thunderous is not a hyper-aggressive Life Orb variant or anything like that, and we see Kaola get that Thunder Wave off, so not even a Fake Out, actually.
No, and he gets fully paralyzed there.
Oh, so, and of course Thunderous has to contend with Confusion, and it hits itself, so Kaola just getting a free turn here. Oh, Milotic gets a +2 Ice Beam off into that Thunderous slot. And will that pick up the knockout? Yes, it does. A
With
critical
the
hit no critical hit no less. So all the RNG in Kaola's favor that turn. I don't know if the critical hit was necessary, but that was just icing on the cake, really.
Yeah, I think not going for the fake out was definitely the wrong play there, because as I said at the start of the turn, he had to choose between which bad thing he wanted to have happen to him, and he just said, "I'll let both happen."
Yeah, that was maybe, you know,
he might have been going for a power punch on the Milotic to be a little greedy, or he might have been going for a return on the Thunderous, but clearly things have completely backfired for him.
Yeah, so we'll see how that affects the game from here on out, but Kangaskhan getting paralyzed so early really gives Thunderous free reign to do what it wants.
And now he can't switch his Pokemon out, so if Kaolo's ever to send in a Landorus, he's going to get an Intimidate off, and Kangaskhan can't easily get rid of that.
Yeah, now we're down to just Kangaskhan Amoonguss, and Kangaskhan goes for a Sucker Punch, contending with that paralysis, but still getting to move first. Milotic does faint, and Thunderous gets to launch a Thunderbolt freely into the Kangaskhan slot. Well, maybe not so freely, I shouldn't say, because it does take a Spore there. But nonetheless, Kaola up 3-2, Kangaskhan damaged and paralyzed, and Landorus comes in for Kaola's side, getting an Intimidate off, dropping that Kangaskhan's attack. Things are looking good for Kaola here.
Yeah, it's hard to see a world where this really goes downhill for Kaola.
I mean, we do have that Thunderous asleep. It's going to wake up at some point. It's really about whether Patrick can deal enough damage in the meantime.
Yeah, like, he probably has to get a power-up punch off and get a return off without having his Kangaskhan knocked out.
Yeah, and with Landorus there, that's going to be kind of tough. Thunderous does go for its first turn and first sleep turn. Kaola launching a Rock Slide, so we saw that Landorus was quite bulky, but nonetheless went for a Rock Slide, maybe not wanting to get Rage Powdered, and as a result gets Spored. And we see the Kangaskhan get a power-up punch off, so...
So I think that is exactly what Patrick needed to happen in order to come ahead in this battle.
Yeah, come out ahead on this turn. We now have +1 Kangaskhan, as opposed to -1, and 2 Sleeping Genies that it's facing down, so 1 return will do good damage here.
Yeah, if Kaola's Pokemon can just stay asleep long enough, Kangaskhan will be able to pick them off one by one.
Yeah, Amoonguss also has the potential to... it has Sledge Bomb, we've confirmed, so it doesn't really have a good way to deal damage to that Landorus, but a double into the Thunderous slot here would probably pick up the knockout. Yeah, and so we see Thunderous takes another sleep turn, and Landorus is also asleep. Landorus moving before the Kangaskhan. Was that the same? Yeah, I mean, it must have been. And we do see a Sludge Bomb go into that Thunderous slot, and return go into the Landorus, picking up the KO. So, wow, that's actually good damage. Yeah.
And Gardevoir comes in as Kaola's last Pokemon.
Yeah, ooh, contest ribbon. Looking swag there, and Gardevoir picked